Hey guys, I am back. Hopefully this is going to work. So, yeah, I kind of enjoyed making the characters live for you guys last time, so I thought that I would do it again. If anybody jumps in and wants to chat, feel free. Otherwise, this will stay up here. For those of you who don't know, or maybe this is the first video you're seeing here, I'm Daniel. We play a lot of kind of different games on this channel, RPGs, role-playing games. Lately, I've been playing a lot of this one, which is Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. And this is a beautiful book, by the way. This game is really cool. It's kind of a D&D clone, if you will. It's got a little bit more of a sword and sorcery feel to it. And along with this, I play a lot of what's called BX D&D, so like basic expert, as I say. And that's really easy to make characters. And there's lots of free character generators online, so players can, if they want to jump into my game last minute, they can just hit a button and boom, they have a character. So since this game doesn't have that, I've started to make some pre-gens. So I basically made some pre-generated characters. One of each class. There's a lot of classes in this. There's like 13 or 14 classes. Maybe there's more. Maybe 20. Anyways, there's a bunch of classes, and I'm going to make one first level character in each class. I figured that at least that's a starting point for running one-shots, as I want to use this a lot more for one-shots. So with all that preliminary stuff, I am running, if you're interested in the system, every Friday we're doing we started a campaign. I think we're on session 14 or something like that. Although we ran a one-shot last week because one of the players couldn't make it. But we're running every Friday at 7 Eastern time, so if you're interested in watching live stuff. And on Mondays, I started a new campaign in BX D&D. So you got a couple campaigns going, plus whatever other things I'm going to do as we go. So anyways, without further ado, I'm doing this a little different here. I'm using OBS. And normally I have two monitors, but I don't have the other monitor right now, so I'm actually just going to hide OBS and hope for the best. So this is going to be like a very quick, we could have like one of these weird screen inceptions. Let's see what happens if I do this and I switch here while I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so you guys are seeing inside my screen now. These are the various classes I'm going to work on. Oh yeah, that seems to be working. So today I'm actually going to do, I always forget to do that. Let's turn off the notifications. Here I'm going to do two classes. A Cleric, which is kind of the base class. So this system has like the four base classes: Cleric, Fighter, Magician, and Thief. Thief, I think. And after you have these four base classes, each one has a bunch of subclasses. You could almost look at it like almost multi-classing. So like if you take, let's say, Warlock, for instance, I believe that's a fighter subclass, but it's a fighter that has spells. So, we're going to build the Cleric, and then we're going to build one of the first subclass of the Cleric, which is the Druid. I mean, Druids, you guys are probably familiar with that if you play any kind of D&D. Like I said, there's no auto character generator, but there is this PDF, and in the description, I put a link. So if you guys want to get it, there's this right here, which is Waves of the Boreas. And this is essentially a 76-page PDF. And what it does is by using a D12, you're able to generate random characters, including their equipment and their stats and pretty much everything you need. In addition to that, if you want to make characters for this, you'll probably obviously need the book. There is a player's version of this as well, if you are just a player and you want to spend a little less money. Both of which in PDF are available on Drive-Thru RPG, I'm pretty sure. Or you can go to Northwind Adventures, which I put the link in the description there. It's a small, well, I don't know, small. I don't know how big it is, but Jeff is really cool. It's his company, and he's awesome. So I recommend the game, and I recommend getting stuff from these guys. So, anyways, the Waves of the Boreas, I had to put a separate link because that's actually on the Smoldering Wizard, I think it's called, blog. So that's not official, right? The other stuff I'm going to use here is from the site. So the book, obviously, which you would have to purchase if you want to use it. You would get a form-fillable character record, which are free on the site. And also, this is also free, which is super useful as a player or even as a GM. This is the ready reference. So if you look at this, you've got lots of stuff. So you've got all the information on the stats, all the weapons. It has encumbrance. It has, I don't know, turning undead, right? So it's basically got everything you need for like quick play at the table, or if you're building a character and you just need like different stats, right? The only downside here is it doesn't have like the special abilities of the character classes. So what I'll do in like tournaments and stuff, cons, like when I run a Gen Con or something, what I do is I actually print off from the PDF the which I'm going to show you, like just the class info, and then I hand that to the person with the character record. So anyways, I am not going to use this here because number one, I have the book, and also number two, what I do, which I find is very convenient, if you're going to run the game, it's worth investing in, is I have the GM screen or the referee screen. And what I did was I took the PDF that comes with it and I actually made it my background paper. So this is essentially 80% of the stuff that you see. I mean, some of it's like a little more condensed. This is about 80% of the stuff that you see on the on that ready reference thing. Oh, my desktop is a mess. Here, let me clean this up. I'll just leave it. You guys won't use it. Okay, so nope, I can't leave it because I am the type of person that if I leave stuff on my desktop, it will make me freaky the whole time. Okay, I don't want to move the thing because it's recording this as well because I'm testing something. So I'm gonna hopefully I don't screw that up. Yeah, I think it's recording it down there. Okay, anyways, back to this. So, like I said, I'm going to make 2 classes. I did actually for Gen Con a year ago or 2 years ago, I made, I'm going to close this, I don't need it. I made some pre-gens, and one of which was a Cleric. So I already have like a Cleric made. I'm going to make a new one, and then we'll use the same character sheet and we'll make a Druid. So here's the character sheet. It's already filled in, but again, we're going to do it again. We know the class is Cleric, and the race and stuff we're going to figure out now. So let's do this. Oh, and I should say races in this game are not like races in like Dungeons and Dragons where you can play like a dwarf or whatever. Everybody is a human for the most part. You will, the different races are things like Atlantean or Gamerian or, you know, things like that, Viking in this case. And they will give you more like some physical characteristics, but they don't actually affect the gameplay. So if you don't want to go through, if you don't care, you can just play what's called the common race, which is like a mix. So anyways, first step, because I'm making these completely random. And by the way, when you download this PDF, just like anything, right? Consider that if you want to just pick something, you can certainly pick it. You don't need to roll for it in most cases. In this case, I'm going to roll for the gender because I don't have any particular gender that I have in mind. So what the sheet tells me to do is roll a d12. 1 through 6 is female. 7 through 12 is male. I will roll. I got a 1. So this first character is going to be female. Now I'm going to come down to the race table, and I'm going to roll here. And I got a 7, which is Celtic. All right, so Celtic female. They're on level 1. I don't know about the alignment yet, so I'll erase that. So this Celtic female, I'm now going to get the information. And what you do here is, of course, if I wasn't sure I was going to roll a Cleric, I could also roll over here, right? If I want to be, you know, from barbaric tribes, or if I want to be, you know, from a civilized area, you could roll here randomly for a class. But we already know it's Cleric, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is go back up to my table of contents. I said this last time. I wish this PDF had live links in it. Maybe I'll take the time to do it, and I'll send it back to the Smoldering Wizard person. I don't know who they are, but I've got so much use out of this. Anyways, I'm going to go down to Celtic Race Kits, and I'm going to scroll across. It looks like it's on page 17. My eyeballs are working right. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to page 17. Let me throw my phone over here so it's not so loud when it beeps. All right, Celtic, and then we have female, and then we have male. But of course, we rolled female, so I'll go here. I'm going to roll a d12, 6. So this here is my Celtic female. I'll try to blow this up so you guys can see it better. That's probably a little better, right? All right, so I've got a bunch of things, right? I have her name. And again, this gives you the cool Hyperborean names. You know, if you want to make up your own name, then obviously that's completely fine. I should say that I can never pronounce these properly. Green. Ingen. Dunham. Right? So that's my name. Then I've got your physical characteristics, okay? Which are actually going to be down here on this page. Right here. Again, I'll blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it better. So she is female, so I'll leave that. She's 17. In this game, people tend to be pretty young. Again, it's more sword and sorcery, so she is 5'9". She is 145 pounds. Her hair is dark red. And her eyes are light green. Cool. Okay, so insofar as languages, she speaks the common tongue and she speaks Celtic with a Godelic. Okay. Anyone speaking Celtic can understand each other. That's kind of like your you know, I don't say accent, but basically, you know, the manner of speech or whatever. Her secondary skill is Cobbler. That could come in useful. And that's all we have here. Now we know, right? I'm going to have to come back to this slender build, obviously. That comes up in another part of the creation. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the first page here. And we're going to look up, we know we're doing a cleric, right? So we're going to look up cleric kits. Cleric class kits. This has most of the classes. There are, I think, 1 or 2 that aren't here because this was made before the 2nd edition came out. So if I'm going to continue the series, so eventually we'll probably hit a class that doesn't exist, and then we'll have to roll it from scratch. But since these are here, I'm taking this way because it works really well. Looks like it was page 33. Yeah, clerics. Same thing. You roll a d12. Number 3. So, I mean, even though there's only 12 clerics here, right? Because you're rolling on the different races, and because you're rolling the different, I guess, different gender too would make a difference. You know, you got the 2 sections there. This creates a lot of variation, actually. Okay, so we're cleric number 3, which is this one. And I'm still on this page, and this is where the distinguishing feature is, so I'm just going to put it here. If there's one, it'll say it here. Small build. Malin streak. I don't know what that means. Malin. I'm not sure what that means, so I'm just going to go like this. Look up Malin. To move. No, that's fallen, not Malin. Ah. Who knows? We'll have to figure it out. I'm assuming it has something to do with the hair or something. All right, small build. Let me try the whole Malin streak because I'm curious now. My brain won't allow me to just let that go. No, oh, it could be that. Malin streak could be that it's got a streak of white. That's actually kind of cool, or light. That's probably what it means. Let me just do a quick search of Google. What is it and why are they cool again? Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Oh, neat. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? A little streak of color, like Rogue, right, from the X-Men. Cool, cool, cool. Anyways, she's a cleric, and she has a Malin streak. We will now scroll up, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to seem really smart when I give this to a player, and if they don't know what that is and they ask me, now I know. All right, let's put in our stats. So all the stats are here. So strength is 12. Dex is 9. Con is 9. Clearly the numbers next to this are going to have to be adjusted. Intelligence is 8. Got 15 wisdom. And a 9 charisma. If you're new to this and you're looking at this character, like if you play a lot of, let's say, 5th edition, and you're looking at this, you're like, oh my god, the stats are terrible. You know, in old school type games like this, the stats aren't as important. So this is still a very, very, you know, viable character. I do see, though, that there is a height and weight adjustment here as well. I should have done that before I scrolled up. minus 10% on the height, and minus 30% on the weight. If they were Hyperborean, which is one of the races that's kind of not human, but kind of human, their differences. So before I forget, let me just roll down there and do that. Should have done that for, see, I already forgot something. I'm going to roll back up and make sure I don't forget. So I'm going to take my height, which is 5'9", and I'm going to, which is 69 inches, right? So I'm going to add 10% to that, or what, 7 inches? So that would make her, wow, what? No, it's minus. I'm going to minus. She's 5'9". I'm going to subtract about 7 inches, so she's going to be 5'2". You could also do 6. Depends on how you want to roll. I'll say 5'2". And she's minus 30% on the weight. So her weight is 145. So minus 30%. Wow, she is really, really thin. That'd be 14 times 3, basically, which is 30, 42, 43 and a half. About 43 and a half pounds less. Yeah, so she's kind of petite here. She's 5'2", and her weight is actually 102. You know, so for an adventurer, that's you know, I think pretty wafy. However, when you look at her ability scores, 12 strength and only 9 con, that kind of makes sense, right? She's not going to be 300 pounds and you know, 5'11". Okay, so that's cool. Before I forget, now's where where you would use that ready reference sheet that I told you about, or I'm going to use the GM screen. So I'm looking here at her 12 strength, and I'm going to now set up the numbers here. So with the 12 strength, so I'm just going to, you know, I have my computer set up so that when I go here, actually, let me pull this over so you guys can see it better. Make it a little bigger. All right. So when I put my thing in the corner, I can see my GM screen. So down here, I'm looking at strength 12. So +0, 2 and 6, 4%. So that's 0. I usually just, actually, I wrote +0, but I usually just leave it blank. 0, 0, 0. Instead of 3 and 6, this is 2 and 6. And this is only 4%. So what these numbers here are is the test of strength is for like opening doors and stuff. The feat of strength would be like bending bars or doing something pretty extreme, you know, that you need to be, you know, really strong for. So, you know, there's still a chance, but only a 4% chance that this character could do that. Okay. So let's see where we're at. Now let's see. For dex, she's got a 9 dex. A 9 dex, 0, 0, 2 and 6, 4%. So basically the same, which is actually the same as the previous character. So I'll leave that. Con is 9. 0, 0, 75, 2 and 6, 4%. 0, 0, 75, 2 and so it's the same as the previous character. 8 intelligence is going to give us 0. Nothing, no extra languages. She's a cleric, so it doesn't matter. Sure, yeah, it doesn't matter that the end is low because, well, except that she doesn't get any extra languages, but the bonus spells are only relevant for clerics, which we'll talk about in a second. A 15 wisdom, though, which is, you know, your prime stat for a cleric, I'm sure, is going to give her +1. Now we can see here, I can't blow this up, unfortunately, guys, but these are cumulative. So your clerical bonus spells at 13 or 14, you'd get 1 level 1. At 15, 16, you get 1 level 2. So since she's 15, she's going to get a 1 and a 2. And then she's +1 willpower, and it looks like 75% to learn spells. So +1 willpower, so, oh, actually the same as the previous character. So that's good. 9 charisma. 0, 4, 0. So 0 for reaction. A maximum of 4 henchmen. And no turn undead equivalent. In this game, you get a bonus to your turn undead if you have high charisma. Because, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're like, stay back. Now, before I go any further into this, we're just going to take a quick look at the book and the cleric class itself. Number one, I'm going to come over here to the main book, and we're going to take a peek at our ability scores. So there's a couple of things we want to look at, attributes. Wisdom, for one. So the cleric's bonus spells, which I just explained to you, clerics can learn new spells, and I'm trying to see if they get any kind of bonus Cleric to some classes can cast spells. Okay, so no. Some classes earn additional... Oh, right, it's not here. It's in the experience point section. I found this last time. So if it's your prime stat and you have a 16 or better, then you get a bonus to any experience points that you're going to gain. Unfortunately, she's got a 15, so she's not getting any bonus there. But that's just something to know. I was going to point that out there. But it's not there. It's in the other section. So let's go Swordsmen and Sorcerers. Let's go to the Cleric. And let's take a peek. I mean, I think we're all familiar with what a Cleric is. Pretty much a priest. It's not a priest, though, because there is a priest subclass. A fighting priest, a warrior, religious warrior, however you want to say it. A little different than let's say, a paladin. In this game, they are not restricted to only blunt weapons, like let's say in old school D&D, but they are restricted to, they're only trained in some weapons. So you have to take that into account. The hit die is a D8. So let's quickly, that's already set over here. I already have that up clearly. Saving throw, they get +2 towards death, +2 towards sorcery. So in this particular game, everybody at first level has a saving throw of 16. That's like a base saving throw. And then these are different categories. So like for instance, if the cleric is asked to make a saving throw versus death magic, so somebody tries to cast a power word kill or something, right? They would need to better a 16 on a d20, and they could add their modifier of +2. So they'd roll a d20 +2. And that's basically how that works. I don't think I talked about that last time, so just in case. All right, cruising down here. A couple things are going to be relevant for us right away. One is fighting ability. So I'm going to look here. Fighting ability. It's 1, so that's good. That's cleric 1 fighting ability. Turning ability is 1, and so is casting ability. I guess that makes sense because they're on first level. So again, these are already going to be set because I would just made a cleric from this. So 1 turning ability, 1 casting ability. Your turning ability reflects the ability to turn undead, which are these numbers here. And again, they're going to be the same as the other cleric I made, so I'm not going to have to look those up. Casting ability tells you basically at what level you cast a spell, and also like different, when you're casting spells, sometimes it matters for like how many magic missiles you shoot or whatever. And then you got your little chart down here. So the cleric gets 1 first level spell at first level, but they also get a bonus spell because of their wisdom. So they can actually cast 2 spells per day. They do get a bonus of a second level spell, but since they're not at a level that they can cast second level spells, they don't get this yet. They'll get it when they have that happens. So we leave that alone for now. And let's go back to our character here. And let's look at this stuff. So, alignment. I do not allow evil characters in my games almost, pretty much always. So I'm looking at 4 possible alignments here that this character might have. I'm going to disregard chaotic and lawful evil. So basically, I'm just going to roll a d12. 1 through 6 is chaotic. 7 through 12 is going to be lawful. I got an 11. So this character is going to be lawful good. Perfect. All right, good. I already did. Oh, hit points 4. Sometimes when I'm doing one-shots, I'll tell people to just use maximum hit points, but I still put this one in from this sheet just in case I want to run something more, especially if I'm going to do like a longer game where they're actually going to use this character as their character in a campaign. I'll have them start with a rolled hit point, which is right there. But if, let's say, we were starting a one-shot, and I wanted to make people as livable as possible, because of course one-shots are going to be more deadly, they would just start with 8 hit points, because there's no bonus for con. Okay. Again, I already made a cleric before. So remember I showed you that they have favored weapons? So let's say that a cleric wants to use something that's not one of their favored weapons. I don't know. They want to use a two-handed sword. Let's say the two-handed sword. I don't know if that's one of their favorite weapons or not. What would happen is they would have a -2 to their attack. So unlike some of the old school kind of games where it's like, oh, cleric just can't use it. They can use it. They just have a penalty, right? Kind of like in 5th edition where like you can use any weapon really. You just don't get your proficiency bonus. Unless there's some reason restricting you. All right. So again, going off of this, I'm in the weapon section here, so I'm just going to handle this first. Let's see. I'm going to look at their gear. shield, studded armor. Actually, since I'm here, scale armor, because that's going to change. Shield, studded armor. They have a short spear, a footman's flail, and that's all they have for weapons. Okay, short spear is the same. That's good, saves me. Which you can both use in melee or throw. And they actually have a footman's flail, which is probably like more badass in a lot of ways. Footman's flail. And then what I want to do now is I'm going to look on my, well, I can't have that capitalized if that's not. I'm going to look at my weapons chart and get my stats from here. So here's my weapons chart. Again, this is all in the book and also on that that PDF that's free if you jump in on that. I'm going to click up flail, horseman's, flail, footman's. Here it is. It is a weapon class of 3. It's got a couple notes which we'll deal with in a second, and it does a D10. I am guessing that the fact that it does D10, it's probably two-handed. But we'll check that out in a second. So it is a weapon class of 3. The cleric is always going to have a 1/1 unless they have some kind of strange weapon, probably. The attack modifier here would be based on strength, and they have no bonus there, so clearly the other cleric did. Delete that. And the damage, again, is going to be just a D10. No bonus because no strength bonus. The short spear I'm going to change now. I'm going to take away this attack bonus. And I will just check to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that damage is based on the previous cleric having a bonus. Spear short. Yep, D6, D8. So when you have two numbers like this, one is for two-handed, right? So if you use the first edition where it might be against small creatures, it's, you know, two-handed versus one-handed. This has a special note, can be set to receive a charge. The footman's flail also has notes, so let's take a look at that. I'm actually going to take a look at that in the main book. I'm going to come down here to equipage, and I'm going to go melee weapons, and let's see. Let's blow this up a little bit so you guys can see better. So we've got our weapons here. Again, you got your weapons class. Where that becomes relevant is if people are charging into combat. If your weapon class is 2 greater than your opponents, even if they win initiative, you go first, because basically or vice versa, because basically the long weapon's gonna give you that advantage. Let's see. So it's got this little like return symbol and then a plus. So what does that mean? Ignores AC bonus provided by shield. Oh, that's super useful. And the plus is two-handed weapon, as I expected. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. Two-handed. Ignores AC bonus for shield. Typically, that's 1. So essentially, if you're fighting somebody in plate and shield or something, you're effectively getting a +1 because their armor class is reduced, right? Some shields, I believe, give you a little bit more of a bonus, but generally speaking, a shield gives you +1. Cool. When throwing the spear, there's really no extra deal here, but the range is going to be the same. The attack rate's the same, right? There's no modifier. This would be based on dex. No missile attack modifier. And because it's a thrown weapon, the damage is modified by strength, but there's no strength bonus for this character, so we'll remove that. Cool. Now let's go back to this and this, and let's see where we're at. So that's the weapons. We already have that entered in. Let me deal with the armor right now as well. So for armor, this character has a small shield and studded armor. Now, they're going to basically have 2 armor classes because with and without the shield, right? Because the especially with the flail, right? If they want to use their weapon that does the most damage, then they're not going to have a shield up. And if they want to just use the spear with 2 hands to do more damage, they won't. So, so they've got studded armor with a small shield. This damage reduction, I'll show you in a second here. Well, I'll show you right now, actually. Actually, I'll show you in the main book. I was doing it on the DM screen last time, but I think it's easier to show it here. So let's go to armor. So when we look at studded armor, the base armor class is 6. This, of course, is modified by dexterity and any shields you might have, or of course, if there's a magical bonus. Your speed in this game has to do partially with what you are wearing. So this is a light type of armor, and it gives the user normal speed, which is 40. Some classes have slightly advanced speed. The previous cleric had scale armor, so thus their base speed was 30, so it was slower, but it did have damage reduction of 1 point, which means if somebody hits you and they only do 1 point of damage, you take no damage. Or if they get to do 5 points, you'll take 4. Kind of stuff like that. But anyways, we're using studded armor. That's AC 6, no damage reduction, movement is 40. So since this character has no no dexterity bonus, that's their AC will be 6 with just the armor. Now they have a shield too, right? So you can do this a couple of different ways. Let me see if this fits. This is what looks like what I did last time. Yeah, sometimes I'll put another little text block out there, but that fits. So I'm going to go 6/7. Oh no, I did it backwards. 6/5. It's descending armor class in this game. That's what happens when you play too many different games. So basically, if they've got their short spear and their shield up, they've got an armor class of 5. If they've got either the spear in 2 hands or they have the flail, then their armor class is 6. The lower the armor class, the better in this game. So speaking of that, from the combat section of the book, I got this number already, which is they need a 19 to hit armor class 0. Oh, got a little bug on my desk. Hey, bug. I'm on the floor. Whoop. Nope, don't jump on me. I'm trying to save you. Oh, he flies. Ha! All right, I didn't think it was a flyer. Oh, there he is. Come on, get out of here. He keeps flying back. I guess he likes the light. Come on. All right, good. There goes the bug. Don't want to kill the bug. Anyways, right. So since they need a 19 to hit AC 0, they would need a 20 to hit -1. 20, you know. So because basically the lower the armor is, the better it is. You probably don't have to put all these in, but why not, right? Here would be the opposite. So it would be 18, 17. Sometimes people think that descending armor class is difficult, or they there's something called from 2nd edition. I mean, it's actually from earlier editions. They just didn't call it that. Called THACO, where you do like all this math and subtraction and stuff. But I've always found it's easier, especially if you have new players, just to have them use the matrix, right? Essentially, all you're going to do is say, roll your attack. Let's say this character rolls they have no bonus, right? So let's say they roll a 15, right? They can just look here and say, I hit AC 4, right? If you don't care, which I don't, if your players know what armor class the monsters are, some people are like, oh, I don't want them to know. Once combat starts, I just tell them the armor class. It's easier for me. Then they'll know, because I could just be like, oh, the armor class of the monster is 7, and when they roll a 15, they know that it hits. Or all they really have to do, this is what I do as a GM, is I just go, oh, 7, okay, I need a 12 or better. It's easy as that. So obviously you could do, there's other ways to do it, but this is the way this game does it, and I like to stick with the way each system does it themselves. In any case, that's a little rant about that, I guess. Okay, cool. Now, abilities. I'm going to do that last. Like I said, I already entered in the turn undead. That's from the book. I already got that. Actually, if you were curious, it's on the sheet here too, I'm sure. Yeah, here it is. So here's the turn undead. I know this is probably hard to see, but essentially the way turning works here is your undead types each have a number. So like a skeleton, let's say, might be type 1. I'm not actually sure that. I have to look it up. So you've got from 0 all the ways up to type 12. Also, I believe that demons use a similar thing. So because some you can turn demons and stuff. So for instance, at a first, so you look at the turning ability, not the cleric's level, but the turning ability. In this case, the cleric is 1st level, and they happen to have a 1 for turning ability. Some of the subclasses will have, they won't get turning undead till later on, and then let's say they get it at 3rd level, they might be turning ability 1 at 3rd level. So that's where you have to look at the turning ability, the fighting ability, and the casting ability. That's more important than the actual character's level. That's basically how this game works. So we can see that 0 is 10 and 12, then 7 and 12, 4 and 12, which I already have entered in here. Oh, actually I have it. Oh, see, I'm glad I checked this. I actually have it down as 11 and 12 because remember that character had +1 with their charisma. This is why we got to check things. So all this is done with a 12-sided die. So 10 and 12 meaning that if you roll a 12-sided die and you get, I'll do it right now, I got an undead type 0 coming at me, and I rolled a 9. Because that is 10 or less, I turn them. So it's easy as that. You can basically turn as much as you want, just once per kind of scene, essentially. So you can't keep turning if you fail or if you didn't turn all of them or whatever. But so you can all the way up to undead type 3, which are pretty serious things, like probably like whites or whatever. You got a 1 and 12. It's not a huge chance, but hey, you know, nope, didn't turn it. It killed me. So that's how that works. Spells I already talked about. Okay, so let's go back to our character sheet. This is our character. These are the spells they have. So unlike, let's say, D&D, clerics do not get, which I actually like, they don't get access to every single spell. Just like magicians, they have spell books. Well, they have prayer books. And they start with 3 spells. So, you know, you can study to learn more spells by investing time and money. And also you get new spells. Did I spell that wrong? Precip. Yeah, I did. I was like, that doesn't look right. Oh, there it had precipitate. And also you get new spells every level, of course, depending on your class. And you get, and like I said, you can learn them. Like I had a character in our campaign who wanted, you know, a new spell, so they spent the money. I think it's like a week or 2 weeks of study time plus like 1,000 gold pieces or whatever it was. So they learned the spells that they wanted ahead of time, because you can know as many spells as you want. This is Vancian magic, so in other words, they can cast 2 spells a day. They can't cast any of these spells the way they want. They've got to decide in the morning, okay, I'm memorizing Cure Light Wounds and Sanctuary. So that's important to know if you're going to play the game. And that's what this comes down to. You can write them down here. Usually people will just write all their spells here, and then they just check off the ones they've memorized. Or they check them off as they cast them. That's kind of up to you how you want to play it. Do they get 10% XP bonus? No, they do not, because their wisdom's not high enough. They don't have any henchmen right now. We already filled in this part, so we're good to go there. So now we're just down to their equipment. So the way that I do this is I'm just going to go over here. A lot of these characters start with like very similar equipment, so this makes it easy. Shield small. Scale armor they don't have. They have studded armor. They got a short spear. They got not a footman's mace, but a footman's flail. Then they've got, let's see, backpack, iron rations 1 week, wineskin full, winter blanket. Most of these character pre-builds come with that. Bandages, a small sack for the loot. Then they've got 2 torches, not 3. Holy symbol wooden, prayer beads. Oh, yellow ivory, that's kind of cool. Yellow ivory. They've got a writing stick, so they don't have the steel mirror that the other character had, and they don't have the tinderbox either. It's funny, not everybody starts with the tinderbox, and I'm always curious like how they light a torch, but I feel like if you got something steel, you can probably light it. It's just going to be a little bit harder. Tinderbox is really, I mean, knowing the little bit that I know about this kind of stuff, tinderbox is really for lighting like bigger fires. Like you want to light a torch, you can do that with just a flint and steel, or just, you know, your steel weapon and some flint. It's not easy, but you can do it. The tinderbox is really just makes your life way easier. Okay, so I've noted all this stuff. Now they've got 5 gold pieces. Oh, 50 pounds. So I'm going to change this over here. And then what I do next to their encumbrance is I write greater than, and I'm going to look at their strength is 12, right? So I'm going to look at my encumbrance chart down here. Wow. Greater than 50 pounds, they are encumbered. So basically this character needs to not pick up anything. Or they're screwed. So yeah, they may want to pass off like some of their stuff if they start finding some gold. They actually have 5 gold pieces to start. Now, I don't like to give people just 5 gold pieces because when you're in town, like a gold piece, you know, like you're buying a cup of soup or whatever, it's like some copper, right? So I like to break it up so that I feel like it's a little more realistic. And also, people love to tip, you know? So in this game, 50 copper is 1 gold, so that's 1 gold. 10 silver is 2 gold, so I'll give them 2 silvers, so that's 3 of their gold. There's 2 electrum to a gold, and then I'll give them 1 gold piece. So that right there is the equivalent of 5 gold pieces, but it gives the character, you know, some flexibility in their spending to make it feel a little bit more kind of, I don't say realistic, but, you know, to give you a little bit more oomph. Okay, so this is our cleric. I'm going to quickly check over to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm just looking down the sheet to look for any, like, weird other AC modifiers. There's not any. Oh, damage reduction. I didn't remove that. Boop. Studded. We got the armor class. They got their movement. Now, again, if they are encumbered, right, which is, I know it's hard to see down here, encumbered means -10 to their movement, -1 to their AC. Penalty, that is. Doesn't make the AC 1 better. So, yeah, if this character picks up some loot, like a chest of gold or whatever, they're going to be 30 movement, and their AC is going to become 5/4. Well, actually, if they're carrying a chest of gold, they probably can't use a shield, so they're probably going to be AC 5. So that's worth keeping in mind. I mean, always I would give. Oh, I did miss something. Always I would say that, like, if somebody's carrying like a sack full of gold or whatever in their hand, and combat starts, they can just drop it. I mean, you know, so I usually don't worry too much about that. You know, it's more if they're running, right? If they're running away from the, you know, the goblins or whatever. Okay, so let's jump over here to the clerics section. What we're going to look at now is their special abilities. You can see here, read scrolls, scribe scrolls, sorcery, turn undead, and at 9th level they can have a stronghold. So again, I already have these from the last cleric, so if this needs more description for the player, I will write out a note here, so we might do that in some of the other ones. But I mean, read scrolls, they can read cleric scrolls. I mean, I don't think that really needs to be stated. They're a cleric. The scribe scrolls, they can write cleric scrolls on a one shot, or if they're like, which is what I'm going to use these for, they're not writing any scrolls. So I just listed there. Sorcery, clearly that means they can cast spells. And turn undead, I think most people understand what that is, and the matrix is down here. So I don't need to describe these anymore. If you wanted to put notes here, you know, that's, especially as a PC, you should make your notes so that, I tell you what, as a referee, I hate when people don't know how their stuff works. So like Cure Light Wounds, for instance, I would put a note here. Let's quickly look this up, because I'll tell you what, this bothers me to no end when I'm running games, and somebody says, I cast Cure Light Wounds, and then they're like, how much does that cure? Like I'm supposed to memorize all the different spells to them. It's like, they, you know, memorize your own spells. Cure Light Wounds. So we'll look it up. Actually, I don't know why I'm not. You can go like this. This is a great PDF, by the way, guys. I mean, the book is beautiful. So I definitely recommend getting it if you have the funds. Well, once it's available again, it's actually out of print. But this PDF is just like amazing. So it's a level 1. You can put the range. I mean, I think most people understand that it's touch, but you can write that if you want. They heal a D8. So, boom. I will go touch 1d8. Simple. Right? If I want to, you can do the same for any of the spells. I mean, let's just go through it. I mean, might as well, right? Let's just look at each spell and see if it's worth writing anything. Precipitate. Let's see. Cast outdoors under partly cloud sky. The spell involves chanting ritual. Requires 1 turn. Spell invokes clouds to release their water vapor for the duration of the spell. Okay, so basically it makes it rain. It could sleet if the temperature is cold enough. I mean, so it takes a turn to complete the spell, and the spell lasts for 1 turn per caster level. So I might want to note that, right? Takes 1 turn to cast, lasts 1 turn per caster level. Alexa, stop. Okay, now we got that, and let's just quickly look at Sanctuary. Persuades opponents to ignore the caster completely. If they fail the sorcery save, the caster can move freely. No special protection if they happen to be in the area of a spell. Okay, so you can only cast this on yourself, it looks like. Persuades opponents to ignore the caster completely if they fail to persuade. Saving throws are modified. With will, the caster can move freely, take non-offensive actions. No special protection. Okay, so basically, this one, because there's like special things in here, what I would do is I would just put the page that it's on. I feel like that's easier because I'm not going to write all that stuff, right? So page 202, look it up, right? Before you cast it, at least it's there so they can quickly look it up. And that is our cleric. So I'm going to go file, save. Now let's make a druid. So our druid, the way all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here and go duplicate. And I'm just going to change the name of it. Druid. I will now close the original one. And we're going to go through the same process. Nice and simple, right? And we'll look up what a druid can do and the difference between the druid and the cleric. So I'll change the class to druid. I mean, I find just doing this is a lot easier than starting with a blank sheet every single time. So, you know, your mileage may vary. So back to the top. Again, we're going to roll a d12. 2, another female. Background, 7. Did I just roll Celtic again? Yeah, same. Another female Celtic, right? This one's a druid, though. Oh, a cleric and a druid. They might butt heads a little bit there, right? So let's go to our Celtic females. Now, in this case, because I'm making 2 myself, I might be wary if I roll the same thing. I might re-roll it because I obviously don't want 2 characters with the same stats and also the same name. I care less about the stats, I guess, than I do the name. You could always just change the name, I suppose. But I think I rolled 6 or something before here, so let's see what I roll. 12. So not a problem. So we got 12. Boom. Right? Same as before. I'm going to come over here. Boop. I'm going to look at what I can look at. Let's change the name. Sometimes this is fun because you'll get characters with the same last names, and then especially one-shots, people will just like really play it up heavily like they're related. You know, maybe they're cousins or brother, sister, or whatever, and they either like each other or they don't, right? So it can be really fun. It's one advantage of like having the names in there versus having the players pick their own names. Is that gives them a jumping point, you know. So let's roll down here. Again, she's female. She's actually 16. She's 5'9". She's 138. Her hair is medium red. Not quite as dark. And her eyes are dark blue. Ooh. We'll deal with this later. She happens to speak the same languages, which is good for me. Oh, her secondary skill is a minor. Yeah, she was a minor. Which, you know, you're underground, you want to check the construction, you want to look for minerals. I mean, these things can be super useful. You know, they seem like nothing, but because they're very open-ended, right? Like there's nothing set as to what that is per se, except for the fact that they're a minor and they can get, you know, you can use that in roleplay. Okay, perfect. I think that's all we got from that. Let's roll back up to the top and let's find the druid stuff. I like that they have that plus minus of the height weight under the class, right? But partially because I think maybe that makes sense because like fighters might be more burly or whatever. But also because it allows you to, you know, otherwise you'd only have like, remember that last character, she started out as 5'9", 145, ended up 5'2", 102. So that really gives you that variation, right? All right, so we're going Druid. Druid, here we go. Druid's on 59. Go to page 59. There we go. Again, there's 12. All I need is D12 for this, which is fantastic. And 12. Ah. That's 2 12s in a row, I think, right? Here's our Druid. Okay. So this time, while I'm still here, I'm going to do this part. Distinguishing features. Oh. Lilting voice. I mean, and clearly, if a player picks this up in a one-shot, I always say this too. If they pick it up and they're just like, oh, I don't want a character with a lilting voice or red hair, or I don't want a female character, they can change that. I mean, that stuff's, it doesn't actually affect the stats. It's more just the height and weight and stuff, and they can always change that stuff. In this case, the alignment is neutral, which I'll deal with in a second. But on this page, if they have any additional languages, oh, yep, they got Druidic. That makes sense. Anything else down here? No height and weight adjustment. All right, so this character is the way they are. I mean, you could jump down and do the equipment. Now, I like doing the stats first. I just feel like that's the better way for me to do it. 13 strength. Also, I just find that it's simpler to do it this way. You, of course, can like do 13 strength, then go across and fill in all the meat of it as you go. I just find it simpler to do it this way for myself. 12. Wisdom is 17. Wow, this is a much better character, stats-wise. So, yeah, luck of the draw there, huh? Those are some pretty crazy stats. AC, they're listing the AC as 4. We'll check that, of course. Because what this doesn't do is keep in consideration the shield or not a shield. 9 hit points. I don't know what a Druid's hit die is. We'll have to look that up in a second. But let's take a quick peek at the ability scores. So 13 strength. Plus 0 to attack, but plus 1 to damage. 3 and 6, 8%. Right, that's nice, right? Dex, 15. That's a good dex. 15 dex gives us plus 1 on both attack and defense. 3 and 6 and 16%. Okay. Let's see. Constitution is a 13, which gives us plus 1 to our hit points. 0 for our poison adjustment. 8368. I probably have to go back. I'm not going to remember all that. It was 0, 80. Three and 6 and 8. Intelligence 12. Do I get any extra language? I don't think so because it would have listed them down there. Nope, no extra language. 50% chance to learn spells for magician. Not relevant for a druid, right? Wisdom 17. Wow, that's really good. Plus 1 willpower adjustment. 1 level 1, 1 level 2, and 1 level 3 spells, and an 85% chance to learn spells. So let's put that here. By the way, the willpower adjustment is for saving throws. So certain saving throws, let's say you're going to be charmed, right? That'd be a good example. So you're making a sorcery saving throw, but because it's charm, then you're going to get the additional plus 1 for your willpower, which we'll make a note over here. I mean, even though it's listed there, I always write it here too, so people don't forget, because people always forget that kind of stuff. So 1 level 1, 1 level 2, 1 level 3. Oh, I ran out of space. That's very good. Hopefully they'll get to a high enough level to be able to use that. 16 charisma. That's going to give us plus 1 to our reactions, 8 retainers, and plus 1 to our turning. You know, if druids can turn, I don't think they can. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. That's actually really good. Again, we already looked here. There's no height weight adjustment. There's no... I mean, I already added the language. The alignment for this character is neutral. I believe druids have to be neutral, but I could be wrong with that. All right, so before I do this, let me jump to the actual book, because I want to see... Now I'm under subclasses. So Cleric subclasses, Druid. It tells you what a Druid is. It's got a cool picture of them. That's all cool. These are the minimum stats that they need in order to get the 10% bonus. In order to get the 10%, they would have to have 16 or better in both of these. And I actually think they do. Yes, they do. So let's go down here where that was so I don't forget. And they get it. Boom. Extra 10%. Yeah. You never know when you're going to need it. But now let's looking at them. Their hit dice is a D8. Their fighting ability is 1. Casting ability is 1. You see they don't have a turning ability listed. So they actually can't turn undead. So you can just leave that there. That doesn't really matter. So fighting ability is 1. Casting ability is 1. Turning ability is none. And I will delete these so that the player is not confused. Right. Okay. Number of spells they can cast is 1 first level spell, as we, most people at this level. So 1 first level spell, they get 1 bonus for first, second, and third. But again, they're on first level, so they only get that right there. This chance to learn new spells is 85. And I think that's all for that for now. Let's look at their saving throw. Death and sorcery. Death and sorcery, so the same as a cleric. This save number is going to be the same no matter what class we make. So all that's good. The hit point is good. That's actually max hit points. So like I said, sometimes I let them have max hit points at first level. This character does have max hit points. Okay. I'll come back to their special abilities in a second. I think this should probably be the same. I think clerics and druids have the same there, but I will check that in a second. Leave. This is, I'm looking under fighting ability. There is a section that talks about weapon skill. Here it is. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the cleric earlier. If you are a monk, or a druid, I should say, you have a -2 if you are using any weapon that is not your preferred weapon from your preferred weapon list. So same as the cleric. So you can use anything, right? Unless the class says something like druids won't use this. You can definitely use it. You'll just have a minus. At 4th level, you can add weapons. So let's say you're a druid and you find something cool, like a short sword. And let's say you can't use a short sword. I don't know if that's the case, but let's say you can't. Magic one, you want to add it to your list at 4th level, you can do that. Actually, they can use a short sword. Oh, actually, no, they can't. Volgata, short scimitar, and a scimitar. So if they found like a regular short sword, they'd have a -2 using it. They're just not trained in it. Anyways, if you really wanted, you could actually make a list here of all the weapons you're allowed to use. I find that people randomly getting weapons in the course of a game isn't such a common thing that people need to list that, but, And again, if I'm giving this to like a new player, they might be confused by why I have all these weapons listed, so I just figure I'll just leave that. So anyways, that's just how I do it. Let's go back to here. Complete character. Okay. All right, let's look at so since we're down here, let's look at their armor. They have a small shield, they have studded armor. So actually just like that cleric, which means, see, they gave a 4 for their armor class. And if you remember from before, studded armor is AC 6. Yep. And a shield gives you a bonus, a small shield gives you a bonus of 1. Versus missile and melee. So that would actually be 5. 5/4. Because I want people to be aware that they have 2 different armor classes when they're using a shield. I think it helps with the roleplay, to be honest with you. Because a lot of times people just add a shield to their kit and then they never think about the shield again. But like, you got to determine, you're in a dungeon, it's like you have a shield, you got a sword in your hand, where's your torch, where's your lantern, you're doing things, where are these items? And I think it helps with the roleplay to kind of understand where stuff is. So I'm not just trying to be a pain in the butt, but I do like to have 2 different armor classes listed for people. I think it's easier. All right, so they have a Morning Star. Well, that's cool. And is that it? Morning Star, darts ×5. Okay. Obviously, darts are missile weapons. Okay. I mean, I sometimes will write this here so they understand that they don't. It's like, people forget to look at their equipment list and they just keep throwing darts, and also it's like, how many darts do you have? So I sometimes write it there, or you can put it in the notes as well, I suppose. So let's get rid of this because we don't need it. Again, a druid, most character classes, unless they're some kind of fighter variant, only get 1 attack per round with a melee weapon. So that's going to be the same. But now we have to look up the rest of the Morningstar stats. So I think, again, I'll do it in the book so you guys can see it better. I realize that looking at my background is probably not the most easy thing to do. Okay, Morning Star. Oh, it also has a special ability. We'll figure out what that is in a second. So the Morning Star is a weapon class of 2. Can I do that? Oh, no, that's okay. The Morning Star is a weapon class of 2. I'm not worried about the weight right now because the good thing about this sheet is it gives you all the encumbrance figured out. Morning Star is a weapon class of 2, as I said. It can be used one or two-handed. That's what this means, right? One-handed damage, two-handed damage. Obviously, it's not a missile weapon, so it doesn't have any ranges. So I'm going to change this to 2. The attack modifier, 13 strength. I have a damage adjustment, not an attack modifier. So the damage for this weapon is a D8. +1. Or a D10. +1. All right, see, this spot's not big enough for it. So what I'll sometimes do here, if this is the case, I'll go D8 +1. And then out here, I'll say D10 +1, two-handed. Then I'll put a comma, because again, it has something special. It's got that little horseshoe deal. +1 attack bonus versus opponents wearing plate armor. Look at that. That's pretty cool. You know, Morning Stars are made to punch through plate, right? +1 attack bonus versus plate armor. That's great. In fact, I might even though it's only actually, it says specifically list plate armor, I might even say if it's like some kind of monster that's really heavy plated, you know, exoskeleton or something, I might give that bonus as well, if the player remembers to ask me. Darts. So we'll go to darts now for missile weapons. Where are you, darts? Dart, here we go. We got a range of 15, 30, 45. They do a D3 damage. Right? 15, 30, 45. Which is actually the same as whatever the other thing was there. For throwing, you use Dex, which she's got a Dex bonus, right? Attack modifier. And for damage, you use Strength because it's thrown. So D3 +1, because you got a Strength bonus. I also see that there is a little arrow, double arrow deal. Strike damage adjustment applies, which I already knew. I just knew that. But that's what that's for, just in case you forget. And finally, we got to look at its rate of fire. So with some things, they shoot more than once per round. Where is that? I'm not sure where it is in the book. It's probably under combat. I have it on my DM screen. I'm just going to look there. Yeah, right here. Dart, 2 every 1. If you happen to be a specialized fighter, you actually get more attacks. But for a druid, you get 2 every 1. So if this druid wants to throw their darts, they can actually make 2 attacks each round with the darts, which is pretty good, right? So you got to figure your odds. You either want to swing once. I mean, assuming you can choose if you want to get close or not from the creature. You can either swing once with the Morning Star, doing a D8 +1 or a D10, depending on how you're armed, or you can huck darts at it, you know, up to 45 feet away, I guess, for a D3 +1 and have 2 attacks. Very good. All right, this is the same because the matrix is going to be the same no matter what character you have. If they have the same fighting ability, which is 1, this is their attack matrix. If we go to other fighting abilities, like, and you will, like I think magicians are 0. They start at 0 most of the subclasses. If that's the case, this will be reduced, I think, by 1. I think it goes to 20. Let's do the druid's equipment, just so I'm staying consistent here. Oh, we'll do their spells first, I guess. Detect magic, fire resistance, and shillelagh. So. And again, you can write ranges and stuff here if you want. When I'm running this when I do this at conventions, what I actually do is I print out, again, just like I print out the class thing, I print out each spell. You know, I make a little like spell book for them just to make it easier. Because I feel like not every spell can be written here, and it can be confusing to somebody who's playing the pre-gen where some of the spells have notes and some don't. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. If I don't feel like printing spells for everybody, and I'm playing, let's say, online, which I do a lot for the one-shots, I might just put it here. So actually, let's quickly look and see. You know, same as before, I'm just going to go to the spells. Detect magic. If I care about this at all, it's probably going to be range. So detect magic is, duration is 1 turn, range 60 feet. So I can go 60 feet, 1 turn. Turn is 10 minutes in this, by the way. Fire resistance. This one is probably going to be one they're going to have to look up, because it's probably more complex. Endures subject's body to effective intense heat, even clad in full armor. The subject can withstand temperatures up to 120 degrees without suffering any ill effects. Fire magic attacks are saved against a +2. Okay, so actually I can write that down. Endure heat to 120, comma, +2 save fire. Okay, and then get the shillelagh. Go here. Where are you? There you are. Duration is 1 turn. Okay. Again, I think most people know what this is if they're a druid, so I'll say 1 turn, and I'll just write the relevant stuff, which is +1 to hit, comma, 2d4 + 1 damage. All right, there we go. So now they've got the basics of their spell. Oh, I guess I should have written the duration of the fire, because you know it's not written there, so for sure somebody's going to want to know. I think it was 1 turn, but I will just make sure. Oh, it's not resist fire, it's fire resistance. I'm like, why don't I see it now? Let's see, fire resistance. Oh, 6 turns. Oh, crap, per caster level. So I'm glad. I'm just going to write 6 turns. This might not fit. Yep. I'm just going to write endure heat dash 120. I'll know what that means. +2 save versus fire for 6 turns. Perfect. Good, good, good. That's actually, wow, that's great. All right, so now let's go back to the gear. Almost done here. I'm getting a bunch of alarms here. That's what I get for doing stuff in the middle of the day. We already have that. Let's take a quick look at the Druid's gear. All right, Druid. Gear. Shield, small, same. Studded armor, same. No spear, Morning Star. Let's see. Darts ×5. Let's see. Backpack, iron rations, wineskin, full, winter blankets. Again, this is the stuff that most people have here. So backpack, iron rations, wineskin, winter blanket, bandages, small sack. This character has a tinderbox. Let's see, and we've got 3 torches. No holy symbol. I'm guessing the druids don't need them. No prayer beads. No writing stick. And their weight is 51.5. Now they're also stronger, so, because remember, this is based on strength. That's not a flat number. So they are actually, their strength is 13. So with a 13 strength, they can go up to 60 pounds without being encumbered. So like when the party goes into a dungeon, let's say it was these 2 characters we're making, and they find the loot, this druid should probably throw it in their backpack first, you know, because they won't get slowed down. They have less gold though. They only have 2 gold pieces. So I'm going to get rid of the actual gold piece, because if you only had 2 gold pieces, you would not carry it all in gold, likely, right? So there's 10 silver per gold and 50 copper. So I'm going to say this druid has 50 copper and 10 silver. And I think that is everything except for the skills. Let's go up to their skills. Abilities, right? Now these are left over from the cleric. I'm sure these are going to be different now. I'm going to close this because we're done with that now. Let's go to back to here. Let's go to Druid. And we're going to go through their skills. Clandestine Tongue, Druidic. I already added that under languages. Fire Affinity. Oh, now see, look at this. This is really interesting, right? They've got, so some of these might be the same. Like they have Scribe Scrolls and Read Scrolls as well. They also have Sorcerers, so I'm not going to delete those. They don't have Turn Undead though, so I'll write over that. So Fire Affinity. So +2. Save. Oh. Save versus fire. And cumulative with fire resistance. All right, fire resistance spells. So we know what that means. So if the druid knows they're going into some like fiery place, they can basically cast that fire resistance, and for an hour they've got +4 on their save versus fires. That's pretty awesome. Okay, natural identification. So okay, this is kind of good. Natural. If I can type it would be good though. Identification. Yeah. I don't think all this will fit. I'm just gonna try to copy and paste it. I think it comes in a weird font though, so it might not actually work. Yeah, I tried that before. No, that's no good. So I'm just gonna say, because that kind of is like a a fancy way of saying things. Basically, what you can do here is I'm just gonna say clean water. I'll say safe water. Safe water and plants, comma, and then I'll put parentheses here, food / curative / poison. Right, so they understand. Yeah, that's fine. Safe water / plants. That makes more sense. / animals. So they can identify animals and stuff. Cool. Read Scrolls I already have. Scribe Scrolls I already have. Sorcery I already have listed. This just talks about how spellcasting works. Traverse Undergrowth. I don't think anybody's been a druid in my games yet, so. Almost, yeah, Overgrowth. It does say Overgrowth. I said Undergrowth out loud, but I'm like, hold on, it says Overgrowth. Traverse Overgrowth. Normal movement. Leave no trail. That's, wow, that's great. It must be in, unarmored or light armor. This is great if the druid's going to spy or something. They can kind of creep up on a bandit camp or whatever, through the really thick woods that would slow down the bandits considerably. Leave no trail as they come and go. And if they get seen, they can through at full rate where everybody else is slowed down, right? So that's actually really good. in play. Now, charm immunity. Well, that's interesting. Oh, no, not till 5th level. So because that's not coming till 5th level, I'm not even going to put it here. Shape changing, you know, we all know about that. They don't get that till 5th level. Druidic hierarchy, that's basically for going up in levels. Longevity, when they get a certain level, they age slower. And that's the end of Druids. So, like before with the Cleric, even though my alarm went off a little bit ago, let's take a quick look. So Una is Una Douglas is a Druid. She's Celtic, level 1, neutral. Got a heck of a lot of hit points for a first level character. This is actually a really good character. A lot of good stats here. She's quite powerful. Now again, she doesn't have Turn Undead, but I'll leave this here because, well, maybe I won't because it might confuse people. Saving throw, she has +1 in willpower. Also, by the way, the attack modifier, like you can also use a high dex for some saving throws as well too. So I might also say +1 dex. You know, that's usually for avoidance. I don't think it's for all. Well, actually, let's look. Going off my memory when I have the book right here. Let's take a quick look at that. Dexterity. Okay. This bonus apparently also applies to all avoidance saving throws and saving throws versus any spell that involves dodging. Okay. So they will get a +1 to their avoidance, just flat out, right? Spells. That can be dodged. Right, that's fine. That way they understand that. Here's their armor class with and without shield. I wrote the dex modifier here so people understand, because there will be times, right? There might be a time where it's like, okay, you're surprised, you lose your dex modifier. Then they can know that part of their armor class is based on dex. They can just see it all right here. That's why I do that. There is no damage reduction. They have a normal movement. That's their fighting ability. They got 2 weapons, a Morning Star and some darts. This is what they need to hit. These are their special abilities. Cannot turn undead, but they can cast spells, 2 of which they can memorize per day. That's the 3 spells this Cleric has, or Druid, I should say. They will get a bonus to their experience points when they earn experience. She's only 16, but she's moving right along here with really high ability scores. She was a minor, you know. Here's all her gear. She's not encumbered, so she can move quickly. And that should be our Druid. So let's file save that bad boy. And I think we are good, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm going to come back and do more of these, I guess, as we go, guys. I'm going to do some other stuff, some other building. I just want to do more stuff on this channel. I figure I'm sitting here doing it anyways, you know? Maybe it'll be interesting to you guys. So if you're not subscribed, you know, already, and you sat through this whole thing, go ahead and consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. Again, I do play, we're playing Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers, so this game, campaign, every Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Of course, they stay up if you don't need to watch it live, clearly. And on Mondays, we're playing a old basic expert Dungeons and Dragons, kind of with a few modifiers game. So also I pop up with other games, you know. So if you're interested in watching live plays, then we're doing more of that. And then I'm going to try some of these daytime live streams where I'm, you know, building adventures, and maybe eventually. But right now I'm doing these classes, so I thought that would be fun to focus on. But I might do some adventure building and stuff too for you guys. In any case, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.